The sun rose over the African savanna, painting the skies in hues of amber and gold. Simba, now a proud and noble king, stretched atop Pride Rock. The land was thriving, with lush grasses, flowing rivers, and the distant hum of life. Yet, beneath the surface of his regal composure, Simba felt a restless stirring in his heart, a whisper of adventure calling him beyond the boundaries of the Pride lands. One morning, as Simba watched the sunrise, Rafiki appeared at his side, staff in hand. The old baboon studied Simba's expression and nodded knowingly. Simba, Rafiki said, the plains whisper to you, yes? A calling not of duty, but of discovery. Simba tilted his head. How do you know? Rafiki chuckled. The winds tell me everything, my boy. It is time you hear them too. Later that day, Simba gathered Nala, Kiara, and Kovu to share his intentions. While Nala and Kiara worried about his safety, Kovu, ever adventurous, offered to join him. But Simba shook his mane. This is something I must do alone. I need to understand what lies beyond our lands, and why I feel this pull. With farewells said, Simba set off at dawn, the Pride lands shrinking behind him. The journey led him through sprawling savannas, dense forests, and across rocky canyons. Along the way, he encountered creatures who shared stories of a place called the Whispering Plains, a mythical expanse said to hold the echoes of all who walked the earth before. After days of travel, Simba reached the edge of the Whispering Plains. The air seemed to hum with a gentle vibration, and the grass swayed as though moved by unseen hands. Here, Simba felt a deep connection to his father, Mufasa, as if the great king's spirit were guiding him. In the heart of the plains, Simba met a peculiar lioness named Amani. Her fur shimmered like starlight, and her voice carried the calm of ancient wisdom. Welcome, Simba, she said. The plains have been waiting for you. Simba bowed his head. Why have I been called here? Amani led him to a pool of crystal clear water. Look and listen, she said. As Simba gazed into the water, images of his past appeared, his childhood, his mistakes, his victories. He saw his father's teachings, his friend's loyalty, and his own growth as a leader. The waters then shifted, showing glimpses of the future, Kiara ruling with compassion, the Pride lands flourishing, and Simba himself becoming a legend. The Whispering Plains remind us, Amani said, that we are not just kings of lands, but stewards of legacies. Your heart brought you here to find peace with your journey and to trust the path ahead. Simba closed his eyes, feeling a wave of clarity and gratitude wash over him. For the first time in years, the restless stirring in his heart was quiet. When Simba returned to Pride Rock, the lions gathered to hear of his journey. Though he shared little of the mystical plains, the wisdom in his eyes and the calm in his voice spoke volumes. From that day forward, Simba ruled with renewed strength and serenity, knowing his place in the great circle of life was both a privilege and a gift. And when the winds swept across the Pride lands, he would pause and smile, for he could still hear the whispers of the plains. From that day forward, Simba ruled with renewed strength and serenity, knowing his place in the great circle of life was both a privilege and a gift. And when the winds swept across the Pride lands, he would pause and smile, for he could still hear the whispers of the plains. Years later, as his golden mane began to fade with age, Simba shared his story with Kiara and Kovu, who were preparing to take on the mantle of leadership. The Whispering Plains, he told them, are not just a place, but a reminder that our lives are part of something greater. Listen to the winds, trust your instincts, and honor those who came before you. Kiara and Kovu nodded, their hearts swelling with pride and determination. Simba's journey had not only brought him peace, but had also sown seeds of wisdom for generations to come. On one quiet evening, as Simba rested atop Pride Rock, he gazed at the stars and felt a familiar warmth. He knew his father's spirit was near, watching over him, just as he now watched over his pride. The great circle of life continued, unbroken and eternal, with Simba's legacy forever etched into its flow. And so, Simba's story continued, not just as a king of lions, but as a symbol of strength, wisdom, and compassion for all. The next morning, as the sun rose over Pride Rock, Simba stood proudly with Nala and Kiara by his side. The warm light of dawn painted the land in hues of gold and amber, a reminder of the endless circle of life. The animals of the Pride lands gathered below, their calls of celebration echoing through the savannah. Simba addressed the gathering, his voice strong and resolute. My journey has taught me that we are all connected, not just within the Pride lands, but beyond. By helping others, we strengthen the bonds that tie us together. As long as we stand united, no challenge is too great. The crowd erupted in cheers, their faith in their king unwavering. Timon and Pumbaa, ever the loyal friends, stood nearby, beaming with pride. Well, Timon quipped, looks like our guy's not just king of the Pride lands, he's king of inspiration too. Yeah, Pumbaa added, and a pretty good travel buddy, if you ask me. Simba chuckled, grateful for his friends who had been with him through thick and thin. As the animals began to disperse, returning to their daily lives, Simba turned to Rafiki, who stood silently with his staff in hand, gazing out at the horizon. Was this the journey you foresaw for me? Simba asked. Rafiki gave a wise, knowing smile. Ah, Simba, the journey never ends. Each step leads to another, and every lesson you learn prepares you for the next.